Last week, we pulled back the curtain on exactly what's driving customers out the door. Bad experience, lower price, limited availability of service appointments. And the one that surprised most people, tires, where 2 out of 3 customers are quietly leaving your service department for a competitor. But here's the question that keeps a lot of service directors up at night. What about the customers who just quietly never come back? The ones who show up, get their car serviced, say everything was fine, and then never come back. Today, we're getting into something that surprises almost every dealer we talk to. This is episode 3, the loyalty paradox. We're going to show you why satisfied is not the same as loyal, why appointment availability is a far bigger loyalty risk than most service teams realize, and what the data tells us about how to build retention that actually holds. Welcome to Retention Roadmap, navigating service success for new car dealerships. I'm your host, Bill Springer. Today's podcast is sponsored by DriveSure. DriveSure helps new car dealerships remain the go-to provider for maintenance, tires, and repairs. For information on how DriveSure can help your dealership, go to drivesure.com/dealership solutions. If you've been measuring satisfaction and calling it retention, this episode is for you. The paradox: loyal customers still leave. Let's start with what loyal actually looks like in this data. When we asked 1,277 respondents how loyal they are to their dealership, 91% said mostly or extremely loyal. Nearly half, 49%, said almost nothing would make me go somewhere else. That sounds great, but here's where it gets complicated. Even among those extremely loyal customers, 45% said a single bad experience would still send them elsewhere. And only 42% bought their last set of tires from the dealership. So loyalty is not a permanent state. It's a temperature, and it's always being measured visit by visit, interaction by interaction. The report puts it plainly. Loyalty is not secured by past satisfaction. It has to be earned consistently. The satisfied but gone problem. Here's the paradox in plain terms. A customer can walk out of your service drive feeling perfectly satisfied and still not come back. Why? Because fine doesn't create a reason to return. It just removes a reason to leave. The dealerships that are winning on retention aren't the ones avoiding bad experiences. They're the ones actively creating reasons to come back. There's a difference between a customer who has no complaints and one who has a benefit waiting for them at their next visit. This is the core insight behind why DriveSure's renewable benefits model works. When a customer's road hazard coverage, roadside assistance, and powertrain warranty are all tied to their next service visit at your dealership, the reason to return is built in. Across all DriveSure dealerships, we see a 67% 12-month service-to-service retention rate on average. That's not an accident. It's the architecture of the product. What actually drives loyalty? The data behind the decision factors. When customers choose where to take their car, the top 3 factors are consistent across all 3 of our studies: quality of work, price, and quality of customer service. These are the rules of the game. These are the table stakes. But here's the loyalty-specific nuance. For less loyal customers, price overtakes everything else as the top defection reason. For extremely loyal customers, price matters less, but experience becomes the last line of defense. It's the one thing even your most loyal customers won't tolerate failing. The practical takeaway? You can't buy loyalty with price alone. Discounts attract customers, but they don't retain them. The customer's experience and value that they get, the kind customers feel they couldn't get elsewhere, are what keeps them coming back even when a cheaper option exists down the street. Now let's talk about the hidden loyalty risk that most service managers generally don't see coming. We talked last week about appointment availability as a defection driver. 26% of customers say it would cause them to go elsewhere. But what we haven't gotten into yet is how appointment availability functions specifically as a loyalty killer and why it's such a hard problem to catch. Because unlike a bad experience, your customer never tells you this one happened. the silent defection risk. When we ask customers to rank what factors influence where they take their car, appointment availability ranked lower than price, quality of work, and customer service. It doesn't feel like a top of mind issue for most customers. But here's the trap: customers don't think about it until it becomes a problem. And when it does, they don't complain. They just book somewhere else. You never get the angry call. You just see the gap in your retention numbers months later. Think of it like a smoke alarm. Nobody thinks about it until it goes off. And by the time it does, the customer is already out the door. How scheduling preferences create loyalty risk. The scheduling data in this report reveals something important. Overall, 43% of customers prefer to book online, and 44% still prefer to call. Those numbers are close, but when you break it down by age, the story diverges sharply. For customers under 54, online scheduling is the dominant preference. Over 60% choose it. But for customers 55 and older, that drops to just 34%, with 50% preferring to call. And that same older group is more than twice as likely to want to book their next appointment before they leave the dealership. Why does this matter for loyalty? Because the scheduling experience is not one size fits all. A customer who can't easily get an appointment the way they prefer, whether that's online showing a 2-week wait or a phone line that's hard to reach, has just been given a reason to try somewhere else. And trying somewhere else is the first step towards leaving for good. The invisible online scheduling risk. Here's a risk most dealers don't think about. Online scheduling actually creates a silent defection event. A customer books online during a busy period, sees no availability for 2 weeks, and quietly goes to a quick lube competitor. You never know what happened. There's no complaint, no call, no feedback. The report flags this specifically. Dealerships need tools and messaging built into their scheduling platforms to manage this moment when it occurs. Don't let a full calendar become an open door for a competitor. If you'd like to see the full scheduling data that we collected in our service retention report, go to drivesure.com/retention report. So the loyalty paradox is real. Satisfied customers still defect. Appointment availability can erode loyalty quietly and invisibly. And the gap between fine and I'm definitely coming back is bigger than most service teams realize. Now, let's talk strategy. 3 things you can do right now to close that gap and build loyalty that actually holds. Action 1, give customers a reason to come back before they leave. The most powerful retention moment happens at checkout, not 6 months later when you send a service reminder. Nearly 10% of customers say their preferred scheduling method is booking their next appointment before they leave the dealership from their current one. Start asking every customer every time if they'd like to book their next service appointment. This does 2 things. It removes the scheduling friction that causes silent defection, and it gives the customer a specific future anchor at your dealership. A customer with a future appointment is significantly less likely to drift to a competitor. If you're offering DriveSure renewable benefits, this is also the moment to remind the customer what stays active until that next visit: road hazard coverage, roadside assistance, and even their powertrain warranty. These make the reason to return tangible and not abstract. Action number 2, fix the moment online scheduling fails. You're likely already offering online scheduling, as most dealerships do, but offering it and optimizing it are 2 different things. Walk through your own booking flow as if you were a customer. What does a customer see when there's no availability for 10 days? Is there a message, a waitlist option, a prompt to call, or is it just a dead end? That dead end is a defection event. Add messaging that acknowledges the wait and offers an alternative, like a phone number or a callback option, or even a wait list. Don't let a full calendar silently send customers to one of your competitors. Also consider the communication that happens after booking. The data shows 72% of customers prefer text updates while their vehicle is being serviced. That preference starts before the visit through confirmation texts, reminder texts, day of updates. The more touch points you own, the harder it is for a competitor to gain a foothold. Action 3, build a retention tether, not just a service record. The data is clear on prepaid service bundles. 78% of customers say they'd be willing to buy a prepaid maintenance service bundle. And when they do, the 12-month retention rate more than doubles from 41% for customers who buy only a single oil change to 86% for customers with a prepaid maintenance bundle. Let me say that again, 41% versus 86%. A prepaid maintenance package is not just a revenue tool. It's the single most powerful retention tool in your service lane. The customer has already committed. They have a financial reason to come back to you specifically. The key is making it easy to sell in the lane. The report is clear that F&I style prepaid maintenance offerings don't translate well to the service drive because they're just too cumbersome. Build a simple, lane-friendly offer. Pair it with value-added inclusions like renewable road hazard and roadside assistance benefits, which the data shows makes more than 2/3 of customers more likely to buy. Today, we tackled the loyalty paradox head-on. Satisfaction does not equal retention. Appointment availability is a silent defection trigger that most dealers never see coming. And the gap between a customer who came back and a customer who didn't is almost always a prepaid maintenance service bundle or a renewable benefit package. The dealerships winning on retention right now aren't just avoiding the bad experiences. They're building the architecture that makes returning to them the obvious, easiest choice. If you want to dig into the loyalty data, including the full scheduling preference breakdown by age group and the prepaid maintenance demand charts, download the complete 2026 Dealership Service Retention Report at drivesure.com/retention report. Next week, we're getting into the generational divide. We'll show you how boomers and Gen Z experience the service visit completely differently and what the data says about tailoring your communication and technology to match. If you're trying to serve a customer base that spans 4 decades of expectations, you won't want to miss it. Download the report at drivesure.com/retention report. Share this episode with your service team, and we'll see you next week.